Welcome to Building Business with Soul with Coach Arliss. This is a show where we will dive into the soulful approach to business, get nerdy with some brain science, and learn the nuts and bolts of how business owners build success through their passion. Let's take a moment to get focused and centered with one round of box breathing, where we will breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and then breathe out for a count of 4. Let's go ahead and begin. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathing out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic. Oh, I love getting centered that way. Today, we're going to be learning about the soulful approach to rocking our goals. And with the start of the new year, like the start of any project, goal setting plays a huge role in getting us motivated and productive. We will talk more about the soulful approach to motivation and productivity in the coming weeks. For now, let's dive into goal setting. The definition of goal setting, taken straight out of the Cambridge Dictionary, is the process of deciding what you want to achieve. And I like to add that supports your highest and best good and the highest and best good of your business. This is really important because there are so many aspects to us as people, and our business is only one aspect, and how we take care of all of those different aspects impacts how we show up in our businesses. This means considering if the goals that you set are supporting your well-being physically, mentally, and spiritually. As we go through this process, I want you to consider the goals that you are setting and writing down for yourself, if they are going to support you physically, mentally, and spiritually. And really getting in depth with that. It might help to sit with that and feel into each goal as you set them. An example of a goal that is supportive to your well-being is being mindful with your time and putting everything onto your calendar. And I mean everything. This allows you to schedule all of your important business appointments, along with your breaks, your self-care, and your fun time. This means that the goal not only supports your business, it also feeds your soul. And yes, I said breaks, self-care, and fun time as part of your business plan, because guess what? We're whole beings on this planet, and we have many aspects of who we are, and we have to take care of that whole being as we move forward into being successful in our business. An example of a business goal which may not support your well-being is using both a digital and paper calendar. And I know that paper calendars are so beautiful. I used to be that person that would wait until the Lilly Pulitzer calendar came out every year, and it was so beautiful. And yet maintaining 2 calendars can take up a lot of mental space. In fact, I've met clients that have 3 or 4 calendars that they're managing, and this can create fear and worry associated with appointments or dropping responsibilities. When we don't have the crossover between the 2 calendars, or maybe we only have access to one of our calendars at a time, this can create stress and be really challenging for us. And we know that when we're feeling stressed or overwhelmed or challenged in our business, we're not as successful in our business. And it makes it hard for us to make business decisions. I have to ask you, how important on a scale of 1 to 10 is business decision making? And I'm sure as an entrepreneur, you said 10. So let's do the steps that we can do to reduce the stress in our business and reduce the stress in the goals that we set in order to show up fully in our businesses. So as we go through this next prioritization process, I want you to keep well-being in mind. And keep well-being in mind as you set every goal in your business so that you can be supporting yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. Now, I promised you in this episode that you would learn how to rock your goals. And guess what? That's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to use the rock method. Yep, I said it, the rock method, to take a deeper look at the priority of your goals and what small goals you might have that make up your bigger goals. I love using meditation as a tool and visioning as a tool to kind of gain the understanding of a concept. So I'd like you to take a moment, and if it's safe for you, close your eyes. Now, if you're listening to me while you're driving, keep those eyes on the road. But if it's safe for you, go ahead and close your eyes and imagine that you are sitting on the beach and you can see the ocean in front of you. Maybe you can even hear it. You might be even able to smell the ocean air. It might be a sunny day and you can feel that warmth on your skin. And you're sitting there at the ocean on your favorite towel, experiencing this beautiful, relaxing scene around you. And your feet are on the sand as you sit there. And as you sit there, you can feel the tiny grains of sand, little tiny grains of sand underneath your feet. And under the sunlight, you can see these grains of sand sparkle all around you. And then you reach out and you pick up a pebble. Maybe it's a pebble that has been worn into smoothness, and you can feel that smoothness with your fingertips. It's been through the waves over and over again. And you can pick up that pebble and hold it in your hand and feel it. And then around you, where you're sitting, there are a few rocks that are dispersed throughout the sand. And those rocks are maybe bigger than the size of your foot. And you can see those rocks in the beautiful sand, and you're holding the pebble in your hand. And each one of those aspects, the sand and the pebble and the rocks, make up a beautiful part of this whole relaxing scene that you see. I invite you to take a deep breath in and let it out and open your eyes. Welcome back. Just as you saw the sand and pebbles and rocks in your ocean scene around you, and how they beautifully added to the landscape, so do your goals beautifully add to your business. And we're going to be using the analogy of rocks, pebbles, and sand to help us prioritize your goals, see what's important, and create a system for you to work through those goals in a way that supports you. The rocks are your big goals, the most important goals, the huge goals that you have in your business. They may be the goals that are the highest priority, or they may be the goals that are extremely time sensitive. And they're the goals that you want to focus your energy on first. If you have a piece of paper, I want you to go ahead and make a list of your big goals at the top of that paper. And you might be asking yourself, why do we start with our big goals first? Well, imagine that you have a container and you want to fit different size of rocks into this container. Well, if you filled the container with sand and pebbles, you may not have any room for your big rocks anymore. Whereas if you put your big rocks into the jar first, the sand and pebbles will find the openings between the big rocks and fill in those spots so that you have room for your big rocks, your pebbles, and your sand all to fit into the jar. Well, this is the truth for time as well. We can get really bogged down in the little tiny things, or even maybe a little distracted. I get distracted sometimes too, by all the little goals or all the little things that come up in our business. And this can take us away from spending time on the big goals in our business and making progress towards the overall vision and mission of our business. So if we fill up our time with all those little things, we won't be focusing on our big goals and we won't be making progress on our big goals. So let's start with our big goals first. Back to our rocks. What are your big goals? And I know you have them because we all do in our business. Examples of big goals might be a specific amount of revenue for your business in a year. I've had clients tell me all kinds of numbers over the last few weeks. What is your number for your goal for your annual revenue in a year? Another big goal might be publishing a book. Do you have that book inside you that you know just has to come out? That author's voice that you want to make known? Maybe you've been writing each day towards publishing this book, and maybe you haven't started yet at all. Either way, publishing a book might be a big goal. Another one could be opening a physical office. Maybe you have the goal of having a brick and mortar store or a brick and mortar office where you can see clients, and you have to locate that space or renovate that space or make that space personalized to you. And that's your big goal. Well, your big goal or big rocks may also have things that allow you to not have negative consequences if you complete them, such as filing required reports on time. If you complete that goal, then you avoid a negative outcome. Maybe it's filing taxes or paying employees. Take a moment and think about what your big goals or big rocks are and how they support your business. And not just how they support your business, but how they support your overall business mission and vision. And how do they support your well-being as a person, physically, mentally, and spiritually? Questions that you can ask yourself while you're going through this process of setting your big goals are, where do you want to be in a year? In your business, where do you want to be? What does that look like for you? Can you imagine what it looks like for you? Who do you want to be serving and how? This is a really fun one because this can lead to travel goals. This could lead to doing in-person workshops. This could lead to coming up with a new product or service. Who do you want to be serving and how? Next is, when you think of your ideal business, what do you see? What do you see for your ideal business? How many hours are you working? What products or services are you offering? Who is it that you're working with? Do you have colleagues? Do you have help with your business in some way? And finally, how can I support myself better mentally, physically, and spiritually in order to show up more fully in my business? Yes, that's an important question because when we are mentally in a good place and in a positive place and knowing abundance and prosperity and beauty and passion in our business, when we are physically in a good place where we're healthy and strong and energetically dynamic, and when we're spiritually in a good place, no matter what your beliefs are, we are able to fully show up in our business in a way that we're not able to if we're not in those places. So, how can you better support yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually so that you can have more in your business than you've ever imagined? This could be taking more breaks. It could be physical body movement as part of your goal. It could be adding meditation into your spiritual practice. Whatever that is for you and whatever suits you, think of that question very sincerely. Okay, have you figured out your rocks? Did you get them written down? Awesome, great job. Now that we have clarity on our rocks, let's dive into our pebbles. The pebbles are the next level of importance and priority for your business. I want you to write these pebbles lower underneath your rock goals. These pebble goals may also be smaller goals that are directly connected or influence the outcome of your big rock goals. For instance, if your idea of a rock goal is being really mindful with your time, well, a pebble goal might be setting up a scheduling app to help people make appointments on your calendar so that it can be within the schedule that you've determined for yourself. Well, that is a pebble goal that is directly impacting your rock goal. For all of your pebble goals that directly impact your rock goals, I want you to physically connect them with a line so that you can see that they are directly linked together. And you can also see that your success with accomplishing your pebble goals will impact your success of accomplishing your rock goals. Questions to ask yourself to identify your pebble goals. Number one, what are non-negotiable tasks that need to be completed for your business to run smoothly? What are these things that need to happen that are not the tiny, tiny things, but are pretty big? Maybe it's social media needs to be completed. Maybe it's things like balancing your checkbook at the end of each month. Look at those non-negotiable tasks and write them down as your pebble goals. Our second question is, are these steps that need to be completed in order to accomplish your rock goals? And like we said, we're going to link those two together on the piece of paper so that we can know that this pebble goal specifically impacts our rock goal. And the third question is, are these tasks, these pebble goals, aligned with the mission and vision of my business? And this is really important because as we get into the smaller areas of our goals, we can get distracted a little bit from our mission and vision. So making sure that these pebble goals directly impact and lead us down the path of accomplishing our mission and vision is incredibly important. Okay, did you go through the steps of finding your pebble goals? Great job. Great job discovering your pebble goals. Now let's move on to the sand goals. So sand goals are the little things that come up, and they're still part of running a successful business, such as responding to text messages or clearing out our desktop or other small tasks. These also might be things that we easily get distracted by, and on occasion might take us off track from working on our pebble goals or on our rock goals. It's important to identify these small sand goals, even though they are not as important as the pebble goals or rock goals. And when we identify these small sand goals, it allows us to work on them in productive and focused ways instead of them becoming distractions. You may also have sand goals that specifically impact the outcome of either your pebble goals or your rock goals. If that's the case, I want you to physically draw a line between your sand goals, pebble goals, or rock goals to show that they are directly linked. Let's dive into the questions to help you identify your sand goals. The first question is, what little task do I find myself missing or getting distracted by? For me, it's cleaning up the physical space of my desk. I can organize little minutia and paper clips and pins all day long. And yes, it helps me to be productive in my business when I have a clean environment, and sometimes they become a distraction. So what are those little things that you're either missing or your distractions that can be your sand goals? Our second question is, how long do each of these tasks take when I'm focused and productive? So I know for myself that if I come in, I can completely organize my physical desk within 5 to 10 minutes each day if I am focused and productive. It doesn't take hardly any time at all. So if you look at your sand goals, how long does it take you to do those when you are focused and productive? And the last question is, what small ways can I care for myself throughout the week? So there might be small things that you can do to support yourself that don't take a lot of time and don't take a lot of effort to do, such as having a bottle of water at your desk when you're working, or taking a bottle with you when you go out to meet with clients. Another small goal, sand goal, might be scheduling a 5-minute break in between certain appointments so that you have that mental clarity to go into the next appointment. Okay, did you take the time to create your sand goals? Fantastic. That's awesome. So we have covered each of the levels of goal setting: rocks, pebbles, and sand. Let's give a woohoo and celebration for completing those 3 levels of goal setting. Woohoo! Great job. Now that you have all of your goals written down, I want you to take a moment and reflect on each of your goals. Is there a reordering or a reprioritization that needs to happen? Does your goal list reflect what is most important to you and what is most time relevant? If you have something that's really time relevant, even if it is something small, it might end up going higher up on your list and becoming a rock goal because the due date is coming up. Does your list support your well-being while supporting your business? Does your goal list for your business support you physically, mentally, and spiritually? Go ahead and take the time to make any changes that you need in the order of your goals. Now that you've made those changes and you have your final list of goals, I want you to put time on your calendar to work on each of your goals. Yep, I said it. Because we know as business owners, if it's not on our calendar, it's probably not happening. So go ahead and create that time on your calendar to make sure that it's happening. This rock, pebble, and sand process can not only be used for goal setting, it can also be used for your daily task list. So if you're a list person, like I am, I invite you to make a list of all the things that you want to accomplish that are on your to-do list. And then go back and designate each of those tasks as either rocks, pebbles, or sand. And this will prioritize what you're going to work on first. Rocks will be your highest priority, pebbles will be your second priority, and sand will be your last priority. Once you do that, you will have an organized to-do list that will help you achieve your goals. So let's take a moment and get a little bit nerdy. You might be asking, what does neuroscience have to say about goal setting? And this is really amazing. Studies in neuroscience tell us that goal setting actually rewires our brain. Yep, I said it, rewires our brain. And when we set a goal, we biologically reprogram our brain to change or create new behaviors and then to reach them. And this is because our neurons are reorganized in our brain, literally, when we make these goals. So goal setting is powerful stuff. And you have the power to reorganize the neurons in your brain. Isn't that cool? So I have to ask you, how are you going to reorganize the neurons in your brain today? You did amazing work today, setting your goals, coming up with your rock, pebble, and sand goals. And I really want you to take a moment to recognize one thing that you appreciate about yourself. This is an incredibly important part of the process because it strengthens the pathways in our brain that help us be better decision makers. And I know that you said earlier that decision making was a high priority in your business. Thank you for joining me, Coach Arliss, on Building Business with Soul. Join me next week when we dive into how to take a soulful approach to productivity and how to use that productivity to be successful in your business.